Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the human ship, Liberty's Edge, and watched the alien fleet through the main screen. Hundreds of massive ships floated in space around them. Each alien vessel was 3 times bigger than any human ship. Their dark metal hulls gleamed with strange lights and weapons that could destroy entire planets. "Sir, we're getting close to their flagship," said Captain Amy Torres. She was a skilled pilot who had brought them safely through the alien blockade. Her hands moved quickly over the controls as she guided their small ship toward the enormous alien command vessel. Jake nodded, but said nothing. He wore his best uniform with all his medals, but he felt like he was dressed for his own funeral. The aliens had been blocking Earth's colonies for 6 months now. They had cut off supply lines and trapped human ships. Thousands of people were running out of food and medicine on the outer worlds. The alien message had been simple and cruel. "Come to our flagship for treaty talks, or we will destroy every human colony in space." They called it a peace meeting, but Jake knew better. The aliens wanted Earth to surrender completely. "Admiral, incoming message from the alien ship," reported Commander Ryan Webb. He was Jake's aide and had been with him for 10 years. Ryan looked worried as he read his screen. "They're demanding we board their ship immediately for the negotiations." Jake turned to look at the diplomat standing beside him. Lisa Harper was Earth's best negotiator. She had helped make peace deals with 3 different alien races before, but this time was different. These aliens, who called themselves the Empire, did not want peace. They wanted slaves. "Are you ready for this, Lisa?" Jake asked quietly. She straightened her business suit and picked up her briefcase. "As ready as anyone can be for walking into a trap," she said with a weak smile. The alien flagship was called the Stellar Dominion. It was a city-sized monster that could probably destroy Earth's entire space fleet by itself. As their small shuttle approached the docking bay, Jake could see thousands of weapons pointed at them from every direction. "Remember the mission," Jake whispered to his team as they prepared to leave their ship. "We're here to gather information, not to actually make any deals." The team consisted of Jake, Lisa, Ryan, and 2 security guards named Ben Clark and Maria Santos. They all knew this might be a one-way trip, but they also knew that Earth's survival might depend on what they learned here today. The alien docking bay was huge and cold. Strange purple lights cast eerie shadows everywhere. Alien soldiers in black armor surrounded them as soon as they stepped off their shuttle. The soldiers were tall and thin with gray skin and large black eyes. They carried weapons that hummed with deadly energy. "Follow us, humans," said one of the aliens in broken English. His voice sounded like metal scraping against metal. "Admiral, Vextal waits for you." They walked through corridors that seemed to go on forever. The walls were covered with symbols that hurt to look at. Jake tried to memorize the layout while pretending to be nervous. Ryan was secretly scanning everything with a small device hidden in his uniform. Every detail they learned could save human lives later. Finally, they reached a massive chamber, with a ceiling so high it disappeared in shadows. At the center sat Admiral Vextel on a throne made of what looked like human bones. He was bigger than the other aliens, with scars covering his gray face and red eyes that glowed with hatred. "So, the humans finally come to surrender," Vextal said with a voice like thunder. "You took too long. My patience grows thin." Jake forced himself to walk forward and bow slightly. He had to play the part of a beaten leader. "We're here to discuss terms for peace between our peoples." Vextal laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Peace? There will be no peace, human. There will only be your submission to the Zephyrian Empire." Other alien commanders stood around the throne room. Jake counted at least 20 of them. Lisa was right beside him, taking notes and trying to look scared. But Jake could see her sharp eyes memorizing every face and every detail. "What exactly do you want from Earth?" Lisa asked, her voice shaking just enough to sound convincing. Everything, Vextal replied with pleasure. Your weapons, your ships, your colonies. Your people will work in our mines and factories. Your children will serve our empire. Your planet will provide resources for our expansion. Jake felt anger burning in his chest, but he kept his face calm. And if we refuse, then we will turn your homeworld into space dust, another alien commander said. This one wore different markings that showed he commanded the fleet's weapons. We have enough firepower here to destroy 100 planets like yours. Ryan stepped forward slightly. Surely we can find some middle ground, some way for both our peoples to benefit. The aliens laughed at this. They clearly thought humans were weak and stupid. That was exactly what Jake had hoped for. You have 3 days to consider our generous offer, Vextal announced. We will provide quarters for you on our ship. Do not try to contact your fleet. Do not try to escape. Accept your fate with dignity. As alien guards led them away to their prison-like rooms, Jake caught Ryan's eye. His aide gave the smallest possible nod. The scanning device had worked. They were already gathering the intelligence Earth needed. That night, alone in his cold metal room, Jake activated a tiny transmitter hidden in his uniform button. He sent a single-coded message back to Earth's hidden fleet. The Foxes in the henhouse. Begin Phase 2. The aliens thought they had trapped Earth's leaders. They had no idea that Earth had just walked into their trap willingly. The real war was about to begin. The second day aboard the alien flagship started with more threats and insults. Admiral Vextal seemed to enjoy showing off his fleet's power to the human delegation. He led them to a massive viewing deck where they could see the full Zephyrian armada spread out across space. Look upon your doom, humans, Vextal said with pride. 500 warships, each one capable of destroying your largest cities. Your pathetic fleet of 30 ships cannot hope to match our might. Jake Morrison stared out at the alien vessels and nodded slowly, as if he was impressed and frightened. Inside, he was counting ships and noting their positions. Ryan Webb stood beside him, his hidden scanner working overtime to record everything they saw. Your technology is certainly advanced, Lisa Harper said carefully. Perhaps we could learn from each other instead of fighting. The alien admiral made a sound like spitting. You have nothing we want, except your obedience. Your human technology is primitive garbage, compared to ours. To prove his point, Vextal ordered a demonstration. One of his ships fired a single shot at a nearby asteroid. The massive rock simply vanished in a flash of green light. The weapon was more powerful than anything humans had ever built. Impressive, Jake said, though his mind was racing. He had noticed something important during the demonstration. The alien ship had to charge its main weapon for nearly 30 seconds before firing. That was valuable information. Meanwhile, scattered throughout the solar system, Earth's real military strength waited in hidden positions. Captain Luke Barnes commanded the stealth destroyer Vigilant from behind Jupiter's largest moon. His ship was painted black and ran silent, invisible to alien sensors. Any word from the Admiral? Asked his second-in-command, Lieutenant Sue Palmer. Not yet, Luke replied, watching his instruments carefully. But the plan is working. The aliens think our entire fleet is just those 30 old ships they can see. Luke's destroyer was one of 15 hidden vessels. Each one carried the most advanced weapons Earth had ever built. They had been working on this technology in secret for 2 years, ever since first contact with hostile aliens. In the asteroid belt. Major Kate Sullivan led a squadron of 24 fighter craft. Her pilots were the best Earth had trained. They had been practicing for months in the rocky maze of space debris, learning to use the asteroids as cover. Stay sharp, people, Kate told her pilots over the radio. When this kicks off, we'll only get one chance to surprise them. Her fighters were small and fast, designed to slip past alien defenses and strike at weak points. Each pilot had studied the alien ship designs for weeks. They knew exactly where to hit to cause maximum damage. Back on Earth's moon, Colonel Pete Morrison coordinated the orbital defense platforms. Pete was Jake's twin brother, though most people said Pete was the meaner of the two. He commanded a network of hidden weapon, satellites, and missile bases. "Sir, we're tracking the alien fleet movement," reported Sergeant Julie Adams from her station. "They're spreading out just like the Admiral predicted they would." Pete smiled grimly. The aliens were confident and careless. They thought Earth was helpless, so they were not being careful with their formation. That would cost them dearly. "All stations report ready," Pete announced into his headset. "We can begin the attack whenever Jake gives the signal." On the alien flagship, the negotiations continued through the day. Vextel presented his demands in detail. Earth would surrender all military vessels. Human colonies would be evacuated and given to alien settlers. Earth itself would provide food, minerals, and workers for the Empire. "These terms seem rather harsh," Lisa said, still playing her role as a worried diplomat. "They are generous," replied another alien commander named Kreltax. "We could simply take everything by force and kill all humans. Instead, we offer you the chance to serve us and live." Jake had to bite his tongue to keep from saying what he really thought. These aliens saw humans as nothing more than useful animals. They planned to treat Earth like a farm and humans like livestock. Dr. Nina Rodriguez, who was traveling as the mission's science advisor, had been quietly studying the aliens during the talks. She was actually a military doctor who specialized in alien biology. Every time she shook hands with an alien or sat near one, she was learning about their weaknesses. "Your environmental suits are quite sophisticated," she commented to one of the guards. The alien seemed pleased by the compliment. "They must be. Our home world has different air than yours. Without these suits, we would die in minutes on any human planet." Nina filed that information away carefully. If the aliens needed special suits to breathe human air, that could be very useful to know. Engineer Sam Carter was also gathering intelligence while pretending to admire alien technology. When they toured parts of the ship, he studied the power systems and life support equipment. His trained eye spotted several design flaws that could be exploited. "Your reactor design is fascinating," he told an alien engineer. "It must generate enormous amounts of power, more power than your entire planet uses," the alien bragged. "But it requires very precise control. One small disruption could cause a cascade failure." Sam nodded and smiled, while memorizing every detail the alien revealed. These creatures were so arrogant they were giving away military secrets without realizing it. On the third day, Vextel grew impatient. "Enough delays, human. You have seen our power. You know resistance is hopeless. Will you surrender your species to serve the Empire, or shall we destroy you?" Jake looked at his team. Lisa gave him the slightest nod. Ryan's hand moved to his pocket, where his transmitter waited. Dr. Rodriguez and Sam Carter both looked ready for action. "We need one more day to consider," Jake said carefully. "This decision will affect billions of human lives." Vextel's red eyes blazed with anger. "You try my patience, Admiral Morrison." "Very well. One more day. But tomorrow you will sign the surrender documents, or tomorrow we begin destroying your colonies." That night, as Jake prepared for sleep in his quarters, he activated his transmitter one more time. The message was simple: "The fox is ready to bite. All units prepare for dawn." Across the solar system, Earth's hidden fleet received the signal. Tomorrow would bring either humanity's greatest victory or its final defeat. But Jake Morrison was no longer worried about the odds. The aliens had made one critical mistake. They thought humans were weak because they had come to negotiate. They were about to learn the difference between choosing peace and being weak. The fourth morning aboard the alien flagship began with Admiral Jake Morrison looking defeated. He walked into the negotiation chamber with slumped shoulders and tired eyes. His team followed behind him, all of them appearing broken and hopeless. "Have you reached a decision?" Human, Admiral Vextel asked from his bone throne. His red eyes gleamed with anticipated victory. Jake took a deep breath and looked around the room at all the alien commanders. Yes, we have decided. Earth cannot fight your empire. We surrender. The aliens cheered and made horrible clicking sounds with their mouths. Vextel stood up and spread his arms wide. Finally, the humans show wisdom. You will not regret serving the Empire. We have some conditions, Lisa Harper said quietly, still playing her role as a desperate diplomat. You are in no position to make demands, snarled Commander Kreltax. Not demands, Jake said quickly. Requests. We want to make this transition as smooth as possible for both our peoples. Vextel seemed amused by this. Very well. What do you request? We want a formal signing ceremony, Jake explained. Something that shows the galaxy that this was a peaceful transition, not a conquest. It would help Earth's population accept the new reality. The alien admiral considered this. Yes, that would be useful. The other species will see that resistance to our empire is futile. We would like all the consortium leadership present, Lisa added. Earth's surrender to the entire Galactic Alliance, not just the Zephyrian Empire. This pleased Vextel even more. Having witnesses from other alien species would make his victory complete. Excellent idea. I will call for representatives from all our allied races. What the aliens did not know was that this was exactly what Earth's command had hoped for. Getting all the enemy leadership in one place would make the coming attack much more effective. Dr. Nina Rodriguez had spent the past 3 days studying alien biology in secret. She had collected skin samples when shaking hands, analyzed their breath when they spoke close to her, and observed their reactions to different stimuli. Commander Webb, she whispered during a break in negotiations, I've discovered something important about their combat suits. Ryan Webb moved closer to hear her report. Nina pretended to be reviewing her notes while she spoke quietly. Their suits are designed for their home atmosphere, which is mostly methane and nitrogen. The suits have emergency seals, but if those seals are damaged, they only have about 5 minutes of air stored inside. This was crucial intelligence. It meant that in a fight, damaging an alien's suit could be as effective as shooting them directly. Engineer Sam Carter had made his own discoveries about the alien ship systems. While touring the engine room, he had spotted a critical weakness in their reactor design. The power plant is incredibly advanced, he told Jake privately, but it has a major flaw. The cooling system relies on a single main conduit. If that conduit is damaged, the reactor will overheat and shut down automatically. How long would that take? Jake asked. Maybe 10 minutes for emergency shutdown. But the ship would lose all power for at least an hour while the backup systems restart. Jake filed this information away carefully. A ship without power was a sitting duck. In space combat. Captain Amy Torres had been studying the alien ships. Computer systems. As a pilot, she understood navigation and sensor equipment better than anyone else on the team. She had noticed something disturbing during their tours of the ship. Admiral, I need to tell you something important, she said, when they were alone in Jake's quarters. What is it, Amy? Those communication arrays they showed us yesterday. They're not communication equipment. They're bombardment weapons designed to attack planetary surfaces. Jake felt cold anger settling in his stomach. Are you sure? Positive. I've seen similar designs in our own military research. Those weapons could destroy entire cities from orbit. This confirmed what Jake had suspected all along. The aliens never intended to honor any treaty. They planned to destroy Earth's major population centers as soon as the surrender was signed. There's more, Amy continued. I detected at least 50 ships moving toward Earth's solar system. Their colonization vessels filled with alien settlers. They're planning to take over Earth immediately after we surrender. The full scope of the alien plan was now clear. Earth would be destroyed as a military threat, then occupied by alien colonists. Any humans who survived would become slaves on their own world. That evening, Jake requested a private meeting with Admiral Vextel. He needed to sell his performance as a defeated leader completely. "Admiral, my people need time to prepare for this transition," Jake said humbly. "Could we delay the signing ceremony for one more day?" Vextel's eyes narrowed suspiciously. "Why? Do you need more time? We need to contact our colonies and prepare them for the news. If they hear about surrender without warning, there might be panic or even rebellion." This seemed to satisfy the alien commander. "Very well, one more day. But I warn you, human, any attempt at treachery will result in the immediate destruction of your homeworld." Jake bowed his head. "We understand. Earth has no choice but to accept your generous terms." Later that night, Jake sent his final coded message to Earth's hidden fleet. "The wedding is tomorrow. All guests should arrive early." Across the solar system, human ships began their careful approach to the alien fleet. Captain Luke Barnes moved his destroyer out from behind Jupiter's moon. Major Kate Sullivan led her fighters through the asteroid belt toward the enemy formation. Colonel Pete Morrison activated every hidden weapon platform around Earth. "Remember, people," Pete told his weapon crews, "we only get one shot at this. Make every missile count." The alien fleet was spread out in a defensive formation around their flagship. They felt safe and confident. Their sensors showed only the small human diplomatic ship and the 30 obsolete Earth vessels they had been watching for days. They had no idea that 57 modern, human warships were approaching under stealth systems. They did not know about the weapon platforms hidden on asteroids throughout the solar system. They could not detect the fighter squadrons using the gas giant's magnetic field to mask their approach. Dr. Rodriguez finished preparing her special surprise for the aliens. She had synthesized a compound that would disrupt their suit seals. A few drops on each door handle and control panel would create chaos when the fighting started. Sam Carter had his own surprise ready, a small device that could be attached to the alien reactor's cooling system. When activated, it would cause exactly the kind of cascade failure the aliens had bragged about. "Tomorrow, we show these creatures what humans are really capable of," Jake said to his team as they prepared for the signing ceremony. Lisa Harper smiled for the first time in days. "I almost feel sorry for them. They think they're about to watch Earth surrender. Instead, they're about to learn why you should never underestimate the human species," Ryan Webb added. Jake looked out the window of his quarters at the alien fleet spread across space. Tomorrow, those ships would either be destroyed or fleeing back to whatever hole they crawled out of. "Get some rest, everyone," he said quietly. "Tomorrow we make history." The signing ceremony began at noon, ship time. The main hall of the alien flagship had been decorated with banners from a dozen different alien races. Representatives from across the Galactic Consortium had arrived to witness humanity's surrender. Admiral Jake Morrison walked into the hall wearing his dress uniform, but his hands were steady now. The act of being a defeated leader was almost over. Behind him came Lisa Harper, Ryan Webb, Dr. Nina Rodriguez, and Sam Carter. Captain Amy Torres remained on their shuttle, ready for a quick escape. Admiral Vextel sat on his bone throne, surrounded by alien commanders from the Zephyrian Empire. To his right stood representatives from the Corvan Republic, tall, blue creatures with 4 arms. On his left were delegates from the Plasma Syndicate, beings made of living energy who floated in containment suits. "Today marks a glorious day for the Consortium," Vextel announced to the gathered aliens. "The human species joins our empire as willing servants." Jake stepped forward to the signing table. The surrender documents were written in 17 different alien languages. Each page described how Earth would give up its independence and become a slave world. "Before I sign," Jake said loudly, "I want to say something to my people who might be watching this broadcast." Vextel waved a clawed hand. "Speak quickly, human." Jake looked directly into the recording device that was sending this ceremony across the galaxy. His eyes were calm and determined. To all humans everywhere, remember this moment. Remember what these creatures planned for us. Remember that they saw us as nothing more than animals to be enslaved. The aliens laughed at what they thought was a speech of defeat. They had no idea that Jake's words were actually a coded signal to the human fleet. Jake picked up the signing pen and wrote his name on the first document. As soon as the signature was complete, he reached up and touched his collar pin. It was the signal Earth's forces had been waiting for. Now, he said quietly, across the solar system, 57 human warships dropped their stealth systems and appeared on alien sensors, like deadly ghosts materializing from space itself. The alien fleet's detection officers started screaming warnings, but it was already too late. Captain Luke Barnes fired the first shot from his destroyer, Vigilant. A plasma torpedo struck the nearest alien cruiser and tore through its shields like paper. The ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. All ships, this is Barnes, he broadcast on the human fleet frequency. Target their engines first. We want them crippled, not destroyed. Some of those ships contain human prisoners. Major Kate Sullivan's fighter squadron came screaming out of the asteroid belt at maximum speed. Her pilots had practiced this attack run hundreds of times. They knew exactly which ships to hit and where to strike them. Blue Squadron, take the ships on the left flank, Kate ordered. Red Squadron, hit their communication vessels. Don't let them coordinate a defense. The alien fleet tried to respond, but they were completely unprepared for an attack. Their ships were spread out for a parade formation, not for combat. Human missiles and energy beams struck them from 6 different directions at once. On the alien flagship, chaos erupted in the ceremony hall. Alarms screamed and emergency lights flashed red. Alien guards reached for their weapons, but they discovered that their suit seals were malfunctioning. Dr. Rodriguez's sabotage was working perfectly. What is the meaning of this? Vextel roared at Jake. Jake smiled and pulled a plasma pistol from inside his dress jacket. This is the real treaty, Admiral. Earth's terms are simple. Get out of our space, or we'll destroy every ship in your fleet. Lisa Harper threw off her diplomat's jacket to reveal combat armor underneath. She produced an assault rifle and covered the room's exit. Ryan Webb activated a jamming device that cut off all alien communications from the flagship. Impossible, shrieked Commander Kreltax. Your fleet only has 30 ships. We have 500. You have 500 ships, Jake corrected him. We have 57 ships that you never saw coming, plus weapon platforms, fighter squadrons, and orbital defense systems you didn't know existed. Sam Carter ran toward the door, heading for the reactor room. His sabotage device was ready to plant. If they could shut down the flagship's power, the aliens would lose their command center right in the middle of the battle. Dr. Rodriguez was spraying more of her chemical compound on door handles and control panels. Alien soldiers were collapsing as their suit seals failed and they lost life support. Outside the ship, the battle was turning into a complete disaster for the alien fleet. Human ships struck with surgical precision, hitting exactly the right spots to disable enemy vessels without destroying them completely. Colonel Pete Morrison coordinated the attack from Earth's moon. His weapon platforms added their firepower to the assault, targeting any alien ship that tried to retreat toward Earth. Sector 7, 3 alien destroyers trying to break away, reported Sergeant Julie Adams. Platform Charlie has them, Pete replied. Firing missiles now. The alien ships found themselves trapped between human fleet units and orbital weapons. They had nowhere to run and no way to fight back effectively. On the flagship bridge, Captain Amy Torres was monitoring the battle from their shuttle. She watched as alien ship after alien ship went dark, their engines destroyed, and their crews trapped. Jake, this is Amy, she called on her radio. The alien fleet is falling apart. At least 200 ships are already disabled. What about their reinforcements? Jake asked, while keeping his gun trained on Vextal. Captain Barnes' group intercepted the colonization ships. They're surrendering without a fight. In the ceremony hall, the alien leaders were beginning to understand the scope of their defeat. Representatives from a dozen races watched in horror as their mighty fleet was systematically destroyed by the primitive humans they had planned to enslave. How Vextal demanded, "How did you hide so many ships?" "The same way we hid our real intentions," Jake replied. "We let you think what you wanted to think. You assumed we were weak because we came to negotiate. You never considered that we might be gathering intelligence for an attack." Sam Carter's voice came through Jake's earpiece. "Reactor sabotage complete. Flagship power will fail in 60 seconds. Jake nodded and spoke louder, so all the aliens could hear. "Gentlemen, you now have a choice. You can surrender your remaining ships and leave human space forever. Or you can sit here in the dark while my fleet finishes destroying your armada." The lights went out as the ship's reactor shut down. Emergency power kicked in, but it only provided dim red lighting. The alien flagship, pride of their empire, was now just a floating metal box. "Impossible," whispered one of the Corvin delegates. "The humans were supposed to surrender to us." "The humans did surrender," Jake said with a cold smile. "We surrendered. The illusion that we were helpless. Now you know the truth. Earth doesn't surrender. Earth wins." Admiral Vextel stared at the human admiral with his glowing red eyes. For the first time since Jake had met him, the alien looked afraid. "What are your terms?" Vextel asked quietly. Jake's smile grew wider. "Now you're ready to negotiate." Admiral Jake Morrison stood over the defeated Admiral Vextel in the darkened ceremony hall. Around them, alien delegates from across the Galactic Consortium sat in stunned silence. Their mighty fleet was burning in space outside, destroyed by the primitive humans they had come to enslave. "You want to know our terms?" Jake asked, his voice carrying clearly through the emergency lighting. "Here they are. All alien forces will leave human space immediately. All human prisoners will be returned unharmed. Any ship that attacks human colonies or vessels will be destroyed without warning." Vextel's red eyes blazed with fury, but he could not argue. Through the flagship's windows, they could all see the wreckage of his one-sprout armada. More than 300 alien ships floated dead in space, their engines destroyed and their crews helpless. "You cannot treat the consortium this way," protested one of the Corvin delegates. "We have rights under galactic law." Lisa Harper laughed, a sound like breaking crystal. "Galactic law? You came here to commit genocide and enslave an entire species. You recorded your own threats and broadcast them across the galaxy. Every civilized race knows what you planned to do." Dr. Nina Rodriguez had finished her sabotage work and rejoined the group. "The biological weapon you developed to poison Earth's atmosphere is also well documented. We found the research files in your computers." The aliens looked shocked that humans had cracked their security systems so easily. What they did not understand was that human computer technology was actually more advanced than theirs in some ways. Earth's programmers had learned to be creative and flexible, while alien systems relied on brute force. Sam Carter returned from the reactor room with a satisfied expression. "The flagship's main power will be down for at least 6 hours. Their backup systems are running, but barely. This ship isn't going anywhere." Captain Amy Torres's voice came through Jake's communicator. "Admiral, I'm getting surrender signals from alien ships across the system. Captain Barnes reports that over 400 vessels have shut down their weapons and are requesting mercy." "What about the ones that tried to run?" Jake asked. "Colonel Morrison's orbital platforms caught most of them. A few ships escaped to hyperspace, but they won't be coming back anytime soon." Jake nodded with satisfaction. The battle was effectively over. Earth had won a complete victory against overwhelming odds. Now comes the interesting part, he said to the assembled alien leaders. You're going to help us send a message to the galaxy. Ryan Webb activated a recording device and pointed it at Admiral Vextel. Tell every species in the consortium what happened here today. Explain how the mighty Zephyrian Empire was defeated by humans. Vextel refused to speak, so Jake nodded to Lisa. She pulled out a datapad and began reading from their intelligence files. The Zephyrian Empire planned to commit genocide against humanity, she announced for the record. They intended to destroy Earth's cities, enslave survivors, and colonize human worlds. These plans were discovered during legitimate intelligence-gathering operations. She held up a data chip. This contains complete records of alien communications, battle plans, and genocide protocols. It will be transmitted to every major government in the galaxy within the hour. One of the Plasma Syndicate representatives flickered with agitation. The other races will never believe humans could defeat us so completely. They'll believe the evidence, Jake replied. Our ships recorded the entire battle. They'll see how your superior technology failed against human tactics and determination. The truth was already spreading across the galaxy. Human communication networks were broadcasting news of the victory to every human colony and trading post. But more importantly, alien news services were picking up the story and sharing it with their own populations. Captain Luke Barnes docked his destroyer with the alien flagship an hour later. His boarding parties secured the ship and began processing alien prisoners. The captain himself came to the ceremony hall to report to Jake. Admiral, the alien fleet is completely neutralized, Luke reported. We've captured 230 intact ships. Another 150 are too damaged to repair. The rest were destroyed when their crews tried to fight. Jake felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Casualties on our side. Remarkably light, sir. We lost 3 fighters and had minor damage to 2 destroyers. Total human casualties are 11 wounded, none killed. The aliens looked stunned by these numbers. They had brought 500 warships to destroy humanity, and humans had defeated them while barely taking any losses at all. Major Kate Sullivan arrived with her fighter squadron to help secure the flagship. Her pilots were grinning with victory as they escorted more alien prisoners to holding areas. Admiral, my people performed perfectly, Kate reported. Every target was hit exactly as planned. The aliens never had a chance to organize a proper defense. Dr. Rodriguez was already studying captured alien technology with fascination. Admiral, some of these weapon systems are quite advanced. With proper study, we could improve our own defensive capabilities significantly. Make sure all alien technology is secured and cataloged, Jake ordered. We'll study everything, but we won't become dependent on their designs. Human engineering got us this far. Sam Carter was examining the alien ship's construction with an engineer's eye. Their ships are powerful, but they're not well designed for actual combat. Too many vulnerable points, too much emphasis on intimidation rather than effectiveness. Over the next few hours, the magnitude of Earth's victory became clear. The alien consortium had lost not just a fleet, but their reputation for invincibility. News of the battle spread to every corner of the galaxy, carried by both human and alien communication networks. Colonel Pete Morrison contacted the flagship from Earth's surface. Jake, we're getting messages from governments across the galaxy. Everyone wants to establish diplomatic relations with Earth now. I bet they do, Jake replied with amusement. Amazing how popular we've become since we proved we can defend ourselves. The formal surrender ceremony took place 6 hours later, after the flagship's power was restored. This time, the aliens were the ones signing documents. They agreed to pay compensation for the human colonies they had damaged, return all prisoners, and recognize Earth's sovereignty over human space. Admiral Vexthal signed the surrender with shaking hands. His empire had been humiliated, his fleet destroyed, and his personal reputation ruined. The other consortium races were already distancing themselves from the Zephyrians. "This is not over, human," Vextal whispered as he signed. Jake leaned close to the alien admiral's ear. "Yes, it is. And if you ever threaten humanity again, we won't bother with negotiations. We'll just destroy your homeworld." The defeated alien fleet limped away from human space 3 days later. Of the 500 ships that had come to conquer Earth, only 97 were still capable of hyperspace travel. The rest had been destroyed or captured. Earth emerged from the crisis as a major galactic power. The victory had proved that human military technology was more advanced than most aliens had believed. More importantly, it showed that humans were not to be underestimated in any conflict. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Liberty's Edge as they flew back toward Earth. His mission had been successful beyond all expectations. Humanity was safe, and the galaxy now knew that Earth would defend itself against any threat. "Admiral, incoming message from Earth Command," reported Captain Torres. "Put it through, Amy." The face of Admiral Janet Foster appeared on the main screen. She was the head of Earth's military forces, and Jake's direct superior. "Congratulations, Admiral Morrison," she said with a proud smile. "The President wants to see you as soon as you return. The entire planet is celebrating your victory." Jake nodded, but his expression remained serious. "The celebration is deserved, Admiral. But we need to remember the lesson from all this." "What lesson is that?" Jake looked out at the stars, where human ships now patrolled space that had been threatened. Just days before, "We learned that the galaxy is full of predators who see kindness as weakness. Earth tried to be peaceful, and they mistook that for helplessness. We won't make that mistake again." "What are you suggesting?" "Earth needs to be strong enough that no one will ever think about attacking us again. This victory bought us respect, but respect only lasts as long as the strength that earned it." Admiral Foster nodded in understanding. "The President is already talking about expanding the fleet. This crisis showed us how vulnerable we were." "Good," Jake replied, "because there are probably other alien empires out there watching what happened. Here some of them learn that humans are dangerous when threatened. Others might decide they need to destroy us before we become too powerful." As the Liberty's Edge approached Earth, Jake could see the home planet growing larger on the main screen. It looked peaceful and beautiful, a blue marble floating in the darkness of space. But Jake knew that peace was only possible when good people were strong enough to defend it. The galaxy had learned an important lesson about humanity. They had discovered that Earth's greatest strength was not its technology or its numbers, but its people's refusal to surrender in the face of impossible odds. Human beings would rather die fighting than live as slaves. And sometimes, when people refuse to give up, they don't have to die at all. Sometimes, they win.